Hello, everyone. Welcome to my live. If I'm using my AirPods today, first time, so hopefully you can hear me. If you can't, well, I'm very sorry, but I am trying this from my bedroom this time. So I'm really hoping that because there's Wi-Fi that it's going to be a good service. But yeah, so I just wanted to take a moment to look at my top. I got this in Taiwan when I went to teach English in Taiwan in 2013 to 2014, and they have such cute shirts. So let me actually show you the hood. Look, isn't that adorable? Asians have such like cute stuff, but it's a little bit yeah, there you go. Look at that. I'm actually attending Simone Soul's slumber party, so I'm like, this is like perfect pajama to go. Maybe I should just do my life like this. Do you guys like it? Yeah, but then it might be too distracting, huh? Anyway, that is my intro. And yeah, I wanted to come on here today and share something that's been on my mind, and it's all about freedom. And I wanted to talk about it because a lot of people, I really think that deep down inside, the reason people do the things they do is because they want freedom. But that is a very nuanced term, right? Because what does freedom mean to you, right? Because it means something different to everyone. So I just wanted to bring it up and talk about it a little bit and give you guys some insight on, the different ways that I see it and how I have used it in my life. Okay, so first of all, I see freedom, and this isn't me. I learned it from my mentors about this concept, or just this way of seeing freedom, as there's freedom from something, and then there's freedom to do something. So I will break that down. Believe it or not, today I have notes, a little bit of notes to keep me on track, because I was listening to, I think it was a podcast or a training. It was a training, and I was writing down some notes because I was like, this is so good. I need to share it with my audience. So usually when people think about freedom, they think about freedom from something. Okay, so let me give you an example. Freedom from stress, right? People want freedom from stress. People want freedom from maybe poverty. They want freedom from certain circumstances. Like, for example, I can say that, like, I really wanted freedom from my work. Like, my job. I did not want to have to report to be somewhere at a specific time at a specific place. So I wanted that freedom to choose, my work circumstance. Yeah, and so also like freedom from living at your parents' house, right? That is an example. Because, like I'm currently living with Robert's parents, and we're so grateful. But but in the past, like right now, we do have the freedom to move out. But in the past, it was like we didn't have that freedom technically because we were still trying to pay off our student loans. We want freedom from circumstances, our life circumstances. And so that's one piece of a different way of seeing freedom. Okay, so people usually want freedom from something that they want to avoid. And so on the other hand, there's freedom too, right? First of all, I want to say freedom is choice, right? At the root of freedom, the word is choice. You get to choose, right? And so with this, I think it's a very more higher quality freedom, or just a way to think about it in a more empowering way, is freedom to choose something. I just feel like that's so powerful. Like the freedom to choose, let me see, the freedom to commit. Okay, I wrote that down. The freedom to commit to something. Like, you have the freedom whether you want to commit to your growth, to your transformation. You have the freedom to commit to your life that you're living right now, or you have the freedom to commit to a new goal, right? That freedom to commit is so like empowering because you control that, right? And so another example is freedom to expand, right? To become more of who you are, to expand your edges, to transform, to get bigger, to get better, right? Because humans have so much potential. Freedom to quantum leap, freedom to really have internal freedom. I think that's the biggest one. In the freedom to choose what to do when you feel an emotion. Like, that's so powerful and so not talked about, right? We all think that like out here is so important, but at the end of the day, like, the freedom to choose how you're going to respond and not react, right? There's a very subtle difference between those two, of responding and reacting, right? Reacting is you let your primal body, your conditioned body just react to some triggers, whatever trigger it is from your old patterns, your old wounds. That's just reacting. But when you respond, you can still feel what you're feeling, that emotion, and acknowledge it and appreciate it for what it is. And from that viewpoint, then you can go and respond. You can choose to respond. So I have the freedom to respond to others on, like, how they made, quote unquote, made me feel, or like what they said made me feel. So I know I went on a little tangent there, but I'm just so passionate about the freedom to choose how to respond to people. And that is the root of empowerment. You feel empowered when you feel in control of your emotions, of yourself, of how you respond, right? We are not always in control of our circumstances, but we can choose. We have the freedom to choose to be in control of how we respond to others. So I just think that's so beautiful, so empowering. And I, at the beginning of my journey, did not know how to do that. I just reacted to everyone and everything, and I just blamed everyone and everything for the way I was feeling. I was feeling like a victim, and it was because I didn't know any better, right? I didn't have any role models. I didn't have any expanders to tell me, hey, like, you could actually not react that way, and you could use this tool to help bring you back into the present moment, because right now you're being triggered from a past wound and you're reacting to that, and your subconscious doesn't know that, so it thinks this is happening in real life, right? Like, that kind of conversation did not happen when I first started my journey. Okay, and so I'm in a very, very different place now, that I so grateful to be able to still experience like life and still be human and choose to respond differently and be at a different vibrational level, and still show myself love and compassion for that reaction. But then I take that reaction and I choose to transmute it and make it into something else and respond in a different way, because I'm taking personal responsibility. So that was that. And then the last piece that I want to share is that we have the freedom to choose not to respond as well. So I know earlier I was talking about like, having the choice to respond, right? The freedom to respond the way we want to. And here, the last piece, the third piece, is like we also have the freedom not to respond to something. We can react, but we don't have to respond. And I think so many of us, like, I'm talking from personal experience, I always feel like I have to respond to someone, that conditioning. Being a child of immigrants, being Asian, being female, being a woman, in a pretty traditional upbringing, I had to always respond to my elders, to my parents, to whoever talked to me. Like, not responding was not a choice. And so I've been so conditioned to respond and in a way feel obligated to do so. And now I have the freedom not to respond because but I'm also doing it from a place of solitude and sovereignty, of like sovereignty words. English is not my first language. I don't know if I've told you that, or if if you've been following me for a while, you know that I was not born here, and my first language is actually Hmong. Sovereignty. Okay, I have sovereignty over how I'm going to respond, and whether I respond or not, and from a place of like, oh, they can't see where I'm at, like they're not at just the consciousness that I am, and so I'm not going to need to push my views, my way of being, my way of thinking onto them, and so I choose not to respond, and that's so powerful because it makes such a big difference for me as someone who always felt like they've had to respond to people all the time. Like I owed people a response, an explanation, and no, like I now have the freedom. I've always had the freedom. I've just come to the realization that I have the freedom to not respond, and that's so empowering, so liberating. Yeah, so you don't have to respond to others. You don't have to respond to situations, right? You can, as long as you have your inner peace, your inner knowing, your inner truth, and you stand strong in who you are, it's so much easier to navigate the world. But when you don't know who you are, and that's my last piece of bulletin note that I have here, is that you have to feel safe with yourself before you can allow yourself to choose, right? If you don't trust yourself because of prior experience, again, I feel like I need to make another live about this, but I've made a reel that like a lot of us, we make decisions and we react and respond based on our past, based on what has happened to us in the past. So the concept of freedom really goes deep, because in order for you to feel like you have freedom to choose to do something, to choose not to do something, the freedom from something, you have to feel safe with yourself. You have to trust yourself. You have to, really love yourself, because if you think about it, if you don't have those pieces, then why are you going to listen to yourself, right? If you don't trust yourself. I think at the end of the day, again, I believe that at the root of everything, self-love is the answer. Like once you come back to loving yourself and having compassion for yourself and accepting yourself, then I just feel the ripple effect. And that's how my journey started. I started with self-love because I did not know what that was. My parents didn't really model that and didn't teach that. They themselves didn't know that. So I don't hold anything against them. But now I have, now as in like 3 years ago, I had the resources, I had the tools and the strategies and information available. So I took advantage of it, and now I am in a different place than where my parents are. Because back then, my parents didn't have what we have now. We are so blessed with so many tools and strategies and just information that, is so readily accessible. And technology is not the root of all evil. Like people say, money is the root of all evil, but it's just a tool. Money is a tool, and technology is a tool, and it's the person who is using those tools that's going to determine whether it's for good or for bad. And so, with that being said, I just want to say that, well, my voice. I just want to say that I am able to choose differently and love myself differently because I have all this information available to me, mentors, coaches that I can access, and now I am where I am. So I'm doing the best that I can with what I have, and that's what my parents did as well, and that is what everyone does, right? People have different capacities, different consciousnesses, different backgrounds, different experiences, and I honor all of that. But really, I want you to take ownership of yours and use that to be the source of your power, so that you can go out there and feel free, right? Freedom is not just a circumstantial thing. Just like I know a lot of people who think that they're gonna be free once they retire, or they're gonna be free once they make lots of money. Like, people want freedom, and that circles back to the beginning of my life. Well, I don't know what's going on with my voice. That goes back to the beginning of my life of like, what does freedom mean to you? What does it mean to have freedom, right? Is it just circumstantial? Is it the freedom to quote unquote control your emotions or control how you respond? Because we can't control our emotions, they come and go. Or is it freedom to travel anywhere? Is it freedom to work from anywhere? Is it freedom to have emotional intelligence? Is it freedom to understand your emotions? Like, there's external and internal freedom. And so I think that's something that people don't really realize or talk about enough, is that our internal world our external world, let me say that again. Our external world is a projection of our internal world. And when I first heard that, I was like, yeah, sure, right? But living through it and embodying it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's so true. I've had, and having the truth in your face is not fun, right? It's like you don't want to accept the truth. Your ego takes a hit. But once you get over that, once you get past that, and you're able to lead yourself with the help of a mentor or of a coach, then you can see like, oh, that's okay. My ego can still be hurt, but yeah, this is the truth, and here's what I'm going to do about it. And that's empowerment. That's freedom. Freedom to choose. Freedom is choice. So that is it for my live. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know if that was helpful. Let me know if you're catching the replay. Share in the comments, like, what does freedom mean to you, right? What does it mean for you? What is it? Freedom to do something, or is it freedom from something, like from your job, from your parents, from whatever, right? And yes, I would just love to hear your thoughts on this topic, because it's been so empowering and so, like, I don't know, like, there are some things that we hear many times, but then one day it just suddenly lands and makes sense, right? So thank you for tuning into my live, and I hope you enjoyed this mini share and getting to know me and like some of the things that I teach and I share and I coach around, really helping support people become that version of themselves. So until next time or next week, I will see you. And remember, follow your energy. Like I do human design. I am really still very into like energetics and really tuning into your body. So follow your energy, and that will help you create and live your best life. All right, bye.